Paul Tagliabue, one of the most influential leaders in modern sports, has died. He passed away on November 9, 2025, in Chevy Chase, Maryland, at the age of 84. According to family reports shared by the NFL, he had been living with Parkinson's disease. His death closes the chapter on a man who helped shape the NFL's rise into a media and financial powerhouse, while also leaving a lasting legacy at Georgetown University and far beyond. Early life. Before the suits, stadiums, negotiations, and league-wide decisions, Paul John Tagliabue was a tall, quiet kid from Jersey City, New Jersey. He was born on November 24, 1940, in a neighborhood where the winters bit hard and the basketball courts stayed busy. Paul grew up with the kind of focus that makes people lean in, even before they fully understand why. At Georgetown University, that presence became unmistakable. Standing 6'5", he played center and eventually became captain of the men's basketball team. He was known not just for rebounding, but for reading a room like he read a game. Patiently, with intent, always thinking a step ahead. He graduated in 1962, served as class president, and stood out enough academically to become a Rhodes Scholarship finalist. Those who knew him back then often describe him with the same words used decades later: thoughtful, reserved, and unwilling to chase the spotlight. It's a profile we don't see much in sports leadership today, and maybe that's why his story feels so rare. After Georgetown, he attended NYU Law School, graduating in 1965. He worked for the Defense Department before joining the law firm Covington & Burling, where fate quietly pointed him toward the NFL. Rise into the NFL. At Covington & Burling, Tagliabue took on sports business law and soon built a relationship with the NFL and its longtime commissioner Pete Rozelle. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, he managed key league legal matters, including antitrust challenges and broadcasting issues. By the time Rozelle stepped down in 1989, Tagliabue was one of the few people who understood the NFL from both a legal and strategic angle. After a long and highly scrutinized search, he was elected as the NFL's 7th commissioner. And then the league changed. Commissioner of the NFL, 1989 to 2006. When Paul Tagliabue stepped into the role, the NFL was powerful, but not yet the global behemoth we know today. What followed was a 17-year era of expansion, stability, and booming revenues. League expansion and stadium growth. Under Tagliabue, the league expanded from 28 to 32 teams. More than 20 new stadiums were constructed. Gross revenue soared from $1.1 billion to $5.8 billion. Television contracts added around $25 billion to the league's financial foundation. These weren't simply business wins. They were the bricks and steel of the NFL's future. Tagliabue understood that the league couldn't thrive without modern stadiums, coordinated national broadcasts, and strong partnerships with local cities. His work reshaped the physical and financial landscape of the sport. Labor peace and player support. One of his earliest big decisions came in 1993, when he negotiated a 7-year collective bargaining agreement with the NFL Players Association. It expanded pensions, health benefits, and support for both active and retired players. That agreement became a model for labor peace in professional sports, and remarkably, during his entire tenure, the NFL had no labor stoppages. Tagliabue also insisted on working closely with the players' union, often personally. He didn't delegate the tough parts. And according to those who dealt with him on both sides, he approached negotiations with clarity and fairness. Diversity and the Rooney Rule. Another defining moment came when he established the Rooney Rule, which requires teams with coaching vacancies to interview minority candidates. Today it applies to front office and executive positions as well. The NFL had only one black head coach when he took office. By the time he left, there were 7. This wasn't performative. For Tagliabue, it was simply the right thing to do. The days after September 11th. One of his most difficult decisions came on a dark September morning in 2001. After the attacks of September 11th, Tagliabue canceled all NFL games for the weekend. It was one of the rare decisions where the public compared him favorably to Rozelle, who years earlier regretted continuing the games after President John F. Kennedy's assassination. Tagliabue's choice was driven by empathy. People inside the league office remember how personally he tended to staff members who had lost loved ones. He wasn't loud about it. He just showed up. Controversy and concussions. No legacy is perfect, and Tagliabue's leadership was criticized for the NFL's slow response to concussion research, and head injury data. He later publicly apologized for early remarks made in the 1990s, acknowledging that the league needed better information and that his past comments overshadowed the seriousness of the issue. He rarely avoided responsibility, even when the spotlight turned uncomfortable. Despite this, many in the sports world recognize that concussion awareness grew substantially after his tenure, and his acknowledgement of past missteps became part of a broader conversation about athlete health and safety. Georgetown University, a second home. For all his fame in the NFL, Paul Tagliabue never drifted far from Georgetown. He remained involved for more than 6 decades, becoming one of the university's most impactful leaders. He joined Georgetown's board of directors in 2006, became chair in 2009, and served until 2015. Even after stepping down, he stayed on as vice chair until 2018. During these years, he was a trusted advisor, especially concerning athletics. He played a key role in the creation of the John R. Thompson Jr. Intercollegiate Athletic Center, which opened in 2016. His steady leadership helped the university navigate growth, challenges, and moments of transformation. Champion for inclusion. Tagliabue also supported LGBTQ students long before it was common for top sports executives to speak openly on these issues. Georgetown opened its LGBTQ Resource Center in 2008, the first at any Catholic Jesuit institution in the United States. Tagliabue supported the center, and in 2011, he and his wife Chandler donated $5 million to fund scholarships, student-athlete support, and initiatives including the Tagliabue Initiative for LGBTQ Life. Their lifetime giving to Georgetown eventually surpassed $14 million. For many at the university, this is as important as any stadium he helped build. Personal life. Despite his public career, Paul Tagliabue was known for being reserved and even a little shy. But with family, he was warm, steady, and deeply loyal. He married Chandler, the love of his life, and together they raised 2 children, daughter Emily and son Drew, who is married to Mark Jones. They have 3 grandchildren who knew him not as a commissioner, but as Grandpa Paul, the tall man with a gentle voice and a surprising sense of humor. He didn't chase attention. He preferred a quiet dinner to a press conference. Many close to him say his favorite title wasn't commissioner. It was simply dad. Final days and cause of death. In his later years, Paul Tagliabue lived with Parkinson's disease. His family confirmed that he passed away peacefully on November 9, 2025. No public final words were released, but his actions during his life say plenty. Steady leadership, empathy in tough moments, and a belief that institutions work best when they serve people first. Reactions and legacy. Reactions poured in immediately from the NFL, Georgetown, and leaders across sports and education. Current NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell called him the ultimate steward of the game, noting how he handled every challenge by focusing on the greater good. Georgetown leaders highlighted his generosity and moral compass, celebrating how he carried the university's values through every part of his career. His fingerprints are everywhere, on league policies, on modern stadiums, on labor peace, on basketball courts at Georgetown, on scholarships that will support students for generations. If the NFL today feels like a giant, Tagliabue was one of the people who strengthened its legs. He leaves behind a legacy that blends strength with compassion, leadership with humility, and quiet determination with enormous impact. Closing. Paul Tagliabue didn't need to be loud to change things. He just needed to be steady. And that may be why his legacy feels so deeply human. If you found this tribute meaningful, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more stories that honor remarkable lives.